we're back for Patient for PC, Mr. Internet, and Tree Froggy. And we got to put on our detective caps because apparently there's been a murder, or at least a death. We won't call it a murder just yet.
Who's dead?
Physical games.
Ah, it's been a long time coming, I think.
I think it's
Physical
been came.
game. What do you mean? Then came, it's over? Well, I mean, I don't know.
Well, Sony adds
Nintendo's
their
still
name to
making
the
them,
list.
right? Yeah,
Nintendo's
Nintendo's still
making
making
them.
them. Yeah, why not?
Is that enough?
That's gaming, man. See? Check it out.
Yeah, I
That's
was thinking.
gaming.
I have never. I think I have one Switch game on physical, and that was the Let's Go that came with the bundle. And I
Okay.
think that was the last time I bought a physical game and that was in 2018 when I looked it up. And I
Well, I feel like, that just speaks more to the market trend than anything. So, does it matter that physical games are
That's a
dead?
great question, and I'm glad that you brought it up before I did. And I'll be the first to say no, it
I,
doesn't
th- I,
matter.
s- I see it a couple ways. Like, one, I like junk. It's nice to have some junk around that makes you feel good. And for some people, that's a game case. And that's great. I think the other aspect you can consider this from is the, like, preservation idea. People always talk about, okay, well, if all your games are just licensed, what happens in 20 years when you want to go back and play Pokemon Legends ZA and there's no way to do it? You can't buy it at a used game store. I think that's a fairly important thing. One should be able to play games from whenever you want. I think we all take a lot of enjoyment out of playing old games, doing this and that. And
For sure.
if games just stop existing, they're only become, things you ask permission to play and someone takes away your permission. That's a bummer. I don't like that.
That's the thing, and I might not have known it getting into Steam, but way back in 2008 and nine. But I've been
Yeah.
living that way for almost 20 years, and
Right.
I've never lost a game in my Steam library. I'm not. That's not to say that it couldn't happen, but I've never lost access or lost my license to a Steam game, and I don't foresee that happening in anytime soon.
Yeah. I don't know.
How
I
hard
don't
would the
know.
stock plummet if they started to do that,
I
depending
would
on the
say that
games
there
that they did
are
it to?
already examples of that happening, just not with games that anyone really cares about. But what happens when it is a game someone cares about?
Right.
The example is that Sony game that came out where they didn't like how it performed, so they just canceled it, you
The
know?
Concord one or the
Yeah, what
other one
happens
or
if
the
you're
one
the
after that.
guy who, you were so stoked for Concord, you got your Concord t-shirt on, you bought it, you couldn't wait to play it, you wanted to share it with your son, in the future. Now, what hope do you have, There's stupid games from back in the day that only I like. What if those games all just got dissolved because they didn't make enough money?
And it might not be fair for me to say that, but for a service game like Concord,
Don't get pinned
I
down on the
expect it
details.
to
Don't get
eventually
pinned down on the
not,
details.
be
If you
supported.
start
An
if you
online
start
game may not be supported one day.
if you
A
start
single
thinking
player
that
game
way,
is,
you'll make excuses
I
for
th-
everything.
no, I think there is a case to be made about online connectivity though, because games can be made incompatible by their servers being taken down just as well, and that's also that's even more of a realistic problem, I think, for PC gaming.
That seems just immaterial to me. It's a game that came out and now you can't play it anymore.
But
Whatever the reason
that's what I
is.
mean. Well, that's the thing that's been happening with, unsupported servers for plenty of games. And so
Yeah. So I
that's
think
not a
to say
licensing issue though.
fair enough, fair enough. So maybe we're on the same page here. I just think like that example of saying like, well, so far I haven't noticed Steam taking any of my games doesn't really make me feel any better
No,
about
it's not
anything.
it's not to say that they couldn't in the future,
And
but
it's
I
like,
I don't
I
foresee it.
probably don't think they will. I don't think there will
Hmm.
be a moment where Steam says, pay up or you can't play Hollow Knight anymore. That being said, like, we're not talking about the things that matter to everyone. We're talking about the things that make this hobby an interesting one to pursue due to your own particular interests, right? Like, if there's a game you love, you want that game to be around. And the most surefire way to make sure that happens in the past had been secure a physical copy of it. If that doesn't happen anymore, what avenue do you have?
I don't. Yeah, and again, I got to go back to online connectivity because I feel like even if you had a physical copy of some of these games, what's to stop the update firmware from blocking that game out
I think that's true.
in
You
the
know,
you
that
know
happened to like
I don't know if
even
physical
Mario
is
Maker.
is really the answer. You know,
I agree with that.
I think that
I
preserving
agree with
these
that.
things online in a dedicated and secure way is also important. You know what I mean?
I
Nobody can
agree.
touch them in some
I
cases.
do think, the fact that physical has been the way to maintain your ownership of a game is sort of a old idea, and there is probably a better way of doing it. Maybe we secure all ROMs via the blockchain, and exactly
Now
Bitcoin.
you're talking.
Yeah.
I'll make a couple
So
RuneScape accounts right now if we can
yeah,
do that.
I do
Uh,
think there should be a better way. I don't think that there is a reason for corporations to pursue that right now. It doesn't seem to me like that's a very
they will
important thing.
not. No, no. It makes more money to make these games become scarce in some
Exactly.
ways.
And it's like, okay, so I have a copy of Super Nintendo game. I can play it whenever I want. That being said, do I still pay for Nintendo Switch Online so I can play it on the Switch?
Fair
Absolutely.
enough. Yeah.
So, it's like these things maybe don't eat each other in the way that you might think.
No.
And so I would encourage, I would encourage Reggie, if he's listening, to not worry about us not buying this stuff again if you decide it's time to sell it. Give me a good reason to buy it,
Yeah,
play it
there are
on my modern
plenty of
device,
people, and
whatever.
Nintendo might be an outlier, but there are plenty of people that would rebuy a Nintendo game if it was physical or
Absolutely.
convenient on online, or the
Absolutely.
collectors like to collect. But I do like to compare this to like what happened with music, and it's not a complete one to one, but
Yeah,
we've totally relinquished our ownership of music a long
I
time
agree.
ago, a
I
long
agree with
time ago, and
Oh yeah,
music is more outreaching to the masses than video games are to the small
probably
percentage of
true.
people that are gamers. And there wasn't as much of an outcry, but maybe I don't remember when Spotify came out and all this, but like I think I bought like a Hop Along CD a couple years ago. It was digital though, and I just downloaded, and it might be somewhere on my old computer.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
but I just bought it because I really liked it. I
totally.
didn't have a physical thing at all, but regardless, um, they still make vinyls. Is my point with all this? They're still making vinyls, and 20 years ago, nobody would have expected that. I don't think, or
Mm,
25 years ago. So maybe, and I'm not saying they're going to start making NES cartridges again, where you can even play them, because everybody a vinyl record player is more universal than
true.
a console that only plays X or Y and can connect to the internet. A vinyl can't connect to the internet yet. So but that's my little silly point is they're still making vinyls, and I bet they'll start making cassettes again one day when it comes into fashion. And so maybe I think you'll always see a physical form in some way, even if it is reduced to the way it's been reduced in the last decade or so.
I think
Yeah.
that the comparison to music does make a lot of sense, and you're probably right that I don't know, I don't really feel like I remember such a big like what's going to happen to my CD collection when
Oh, it's because your
iTunes
CD
came out,
player
or
couldn't, your CDs couldn't, well, they could dissolve, I guess, and people were saying that for 30 years, that the CDs are going to break down eventually, but um, you couldn't get locked out of your CD the way that like your CD player is going to work if as long as it has batteries in it. You're not going to buy the CD2 that only plays CD2 CDs. I'm trying to talk about
oh yeah, I
make
understand what you're saying.
a
I
console
understand.
comparison. And so it's not a one to one like I said. We don't There's only one CD player and there's only one vinyl player. There's many different video game players.
Sure. Yeah, I do think the
Um,
proprietary nature of these things
it's a
has changed
little
a little bit.
but
And
we
I think for
totally
that
relinquished
reason, I really
our
don't think
ownership.
that your prediction will come true. I don't think that there will be like a resurgence of like, indie physical releases. I think that that's happening now. I think like these days, right now, there are some. I don't know if these things really make money. Like they seem like a passion project more than anything.
Right, like
My
the people that
understanding.
3D print the cartridges and stuff
Nope,
like
not
that.
that 3D print cartridges. Like, there's like a website. Maybe they do 3D print it, but it's like you can buy a cartridge for certain games, right? Certain games, like
Yeah, I think that's what I'm
even
talking about. Yeah,
like
refurbished
Silksong
ones.
has like
Uh,
a physical release. It's like, okay, why is that? It's because there's a small class of gamers who want to put
yeah,
Silksong on their shelf. And to me, it's like, I don't think that's going to get bigger. I don't.
No, I don't think it's going to get bigger, but I think it will. Yeah, a resurgence might not have been the right word if I said that. No, I think it will always remain though, in some small form, and it might be whittled
Potentially.
down more and more until it's barely there. But the people
Yeah,
that collect will
that's what
always
I think.
collect.
I think it probably will be barely there because I think that,
Will it be a
next,
premium though at that point? As it's already some physical releases are already
in some
becoming a
sense it
premium.
is kind of
Yeah,
already a premium, but I
and
don't
that's a
think it's going
shame.
to happen because the next PlayStation won't have a disc drive. Maybe the next Switch will have a cartridge drive, but the one after that
Hmm.
probably won't have a cartridge drive. So what are you going to do? Make it for Switch 1 40 years after it came out? I don't think so. I think that, there's always, it's fun to print a little Game Boy cartridge or whatever and put your game on that. And I think that's the Cuphead game is going to be like that. They're going to put it on Game Gear or whatever and make cartridges. And that's cool, but that's a
Yeah,
novelty. That's a
absolutely
novelty.
a premium novelty. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think it's going to be quite the same as like I don't, right now I can go to a record store in any major city in America. Do I think I can go to a physical game store in any major city in America
No.
for modern releases in 20 years? I don't think so. And,
Yeah.
to
Speak of
bring it
disc
back to our
drive.
original point, I just don't think it matters. Like, I don't think it's going to change gamer
I know,
habits.
like I said, I've been living in it. I've been wallowing in it for 20 years. My last two computers do not have a disk drive, and I don't plan
Yeah,
on
of
putting one in there. And
course not.
you
Why
know,
would you?
and
Yeah,
and the last time I thought about a disk drive was not for a video game. It was try to burn a CD, probably. you
right.
know,
Exactly.
so
Exactly.
no, I don't think it matters to me. But that being said, even though it doesn't matter to us, I know personally people that it matters very, very much to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that could be
Very
true.
much to
Yeah,
the
that
point
could
where
be
I
true.
think they're a little crazy, but that's
Of
their
course you do. Of
shtick.
course
You
you
know what
do.
I mean?
Yeah,
Collectors
people.
like to collect. You know,
I think it's crazy when people buy vinyls. So,
me too. Right, right.
um, it does make me think like, in some sense, my physical game collection of games that I had when I was younger is sort of my best diary of the gaming experience as I had. Because I don't really remember every game I ever played. I can't even tell you, did I play all three Professor Laytons or just one? But if I go look at the ones I have, I can get a pretty good guess. So in the future, like, could I even tell you right now all the games I played on
That's a
Switch?
great point
Probably
because
not.
I yeah, that's why I buy books is because I would forget what I read,
Exactly,
and that's
exactly.
why I put them on the shelf because otherwise I would totally forget. So
Right.
you know, it's a really good point.
So maybe, Grand Theft Auto has it right, and really all we need is the case with the code inside, so I can play it all the time, but then I have something to put on the shelf.
That if you're just gonna give me a code though, just email me the code. I don't I don't know. I'll put it on. No, I do like looking at my Steam library that way, as silly as that sounds, and as a dumbed
Yeah,
down
no,
way that is, you know.
it's a
But
similar idea, I think. Steam Library is just kind of more ever present, I think, than my Switch
we
library or
hope,
something.
yeah,
Not even like longevity. I just mean like when I'm on Steam, my Steam library is always in my face. I'm always looking at it. I'm always thinking about it. I go on Steam for things other than just to start a game. I go on there to shop or whatever. I don't do any of that on my Switch, right? So I just don't see the games that I
no,
have on.
yeah.
If I'm on Switch, I load into the game I was just playing and I start right away.
All right, well, that's about all I got to say, I think.
Yeah, I think conflicted feelings overall. I do feel like it's a long time coming and it's going to happen one way or another. Um, I feel for the people who really are
Absolutely.
burnt by this, and that's too bad. And I hope you can find ways to keep that part of your collection alive. But
Yeah, stay strong, PlayStation fans,
yeah,
and
yeah,
remember the most important thing is to not take damage.
that's right.
Peace.